Towing is a career full of different situations, from vehicles missing a wheel to having none at all. A great operator learns to use all the tools in both his physical and mental toolbox. I'm here today to tell you about a new, exciting tool to add to your physical toolbox, the BakPul Hitch. Like many people on the internet, I had my doubts about this product. Doubts I personally aired on this podcast. But the fine folks over at BakPul Hitch sent me one of their products to try, and boy, was I surprised. Its quality of build and ease of use made me eat my words real quick. So if you're a doubter like I was, head over to bakpulhitches.com for more information and to find out how to add another tool to your toolbox. That's BakPul Hitches.com.
Hey everyone, I'm Brad from Calgary.
This is Sean from Cambridge, Ontario.
I'm Terry from Cornwall, Ontario.
Hey, this is Larry from Pitt Meadows, British Columbia, and you're listening to the Towing Life podcast.
Welcome to the Towing Life podcast, where the ditches are deep, the trucks are loaded, but the drivers are not. I'm your host, TowManG, and as usual, I'm joined by my co-host, friend, and former co-worker, the man with very strong opinions, Mr. PlainGuy.
I have very strong opinions towards internet issues and connectivity issues and technological issues this week.
Well, I say it's because you have stopped pleading to Elon Musk to set me up with Starlink.
I'm tired of giving him free advertisement.
Yeah. I guess. I got an ad for Starlink the other day, and I was like, ooh, maybe. And then I checked, and it's not available in my area. So
you're so far in the sticks that even the satellites in space can't reach you.
Yeah, apparently.
The people from January 6th would absolutely love you and your property.
What?
That being said, how are you, G? How are you?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself, Mr. Busy Man over there?
Oh, busy doesn't even begin to seem to describe it lately. I don't know why. I'd love to sit here and just make excuses week after week on why it is that, you know, we're so jammed or I have no time or whatever it is. I've just accepted it that is life now, until we can get to a better spot at one point. So until that day comes, we will continue to fly by the seat of our pants.
Mm-hmm.
Put together, I want to say last minute episodes like this. We're still a little bit ahead, but at the same time, just the timing of everything, it is what it is. So before we get into it, it's a good time to mention, we always appreciate your comments, questions, concerns about the show. How can you reach us? You can visit us at towinglife.ca. You can email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook by searching at the Towing Life Podcast. And again, if you're watching over on the YouTube side, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, leave a comment. If you're listening on the audio side, always be sure to rate and review wherever you listen, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify, wherever it is you listen and watch. We are everywhere. And if you're watching over on the YouTube side, I already said it, hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up, leave a comment down below so G can feel good about himself at night.
Yeah, make me feel good.
One little announcement before we get too far into it. So normally the end of the month, the last episode of the month, is when we announce the recovery of the month. Unfortunately, just due to the overwhelming circumstances that we're under right now, we have not had a chance to go through with the new submissions that are coming in constantly and give an updated list to be able to pick a winner. So stay tuned. We will have it available for next week's episode coming out on the Tuesday. We apologize for the delay. I mean, if you have never pushed off a towing call, you know, I don't believe you. So I think you can kind of understand where it comes from when we get a little overwhelmed sometimes and we got to...
June the 2nd will be when we are announcing May's winner.
There we go. It's not... Is it June the 2nd?
Yes.
I don't think you know how to work a calendar, chum. It'll be June 6th.
Oh, yeah, June 2nd is a week from today. Never mind. Yes, June the 6th.
And this is why G is no longer in charge of coordinating any of the team events.
I was in charge at one point? That's how much I knew.
Yeah, that's why they never happened.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they never happened. So what about you? How are things down on your side of the wonderful province?
on my side of the wonderful province, it's getting into that summer season, which is nice. It's slightly bringing up call volume again, which is wonderful. And trucks are busy, which means drivers are busy, which means paychecks are getting better on the commission side of things, which is nice. It helps the bank account some. But as the busier season comes in for us, it brings up a good point of like time management. It's
Right.
like, especially not even just so much at work, but your personal life as well, is being able to manage time. And our circumstance is one of the reasons why I really wanted to bring it up. And it really depends on the type of person you are. And I know for a lot of us, we put the towing industry first because that's what the job normally entails, right? People break down on their own schedule and not ours. Unfortunately, that's just how it works. But at what point do you say I need to make time for my family or my friends, my social life to really, enjoy your life? I know for myself, I can get up every day and I can go to work and I can do that for a week or two straight at this point. But if that's all I do and I do nothing else but work and come home to sleep, I kind of get a little depressed, sad, whatever we can say on YouTube, because at what point, okay, cool, maybe the money's good, but why are you making the money if you can't spend time with your friends and family and actually enjoy yourself?
I get you. You know what? It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. I was listening to a podcast actually just recently with, um, I want to say I'm hoping I'm not messing up. It's Kevin Smith, Jay and Silent Bob. You remember that? You never seen the Jay and Silent Bob series?
No.
Clerks. No. Anyway, so he's an actor, movie producer guy, and he was talking on his podcast about, um, you know, how that work life balance. But
Hmm.
whenever you enjoy your work, it's very easy to put your work first. But then, you don't, he goes, I'd finish this project instead of sitting back and enjoying this project. I get right away into another project.
Yeah.
And it actually can create it's not so much the idea of, yeah, you got to take some time. And if you're making all that money, you might as well enjoy it. But it just comes down to a person's drive and a person's passion. And when they
Mm.
work in that, they really have a hard time separating it. And I get that.
Yeah.
I'm very much, my wife, if you remember from the episode that we had her on, will tell you, the priority list goes work, wife, work, dog, wife, or work, wife, dog, whatever order
Yeah.
she picks
Yeah.
that day.
My girlfriend says to me, which is the best compliment I can ever get, is she says, "Thank you for not being like PlainGuy." Because she admits it. She's like, even on, like, I work 6 days in a row of 12s,
Yeah.
and she gets frustrated by closer to the end because she feels like she never sees me,
Mhm.
right? To where we are completely different people in the industry, because I'm a very much family oriented person where, well, I take time
I'm
every
not
other
saying,
week.
I'm not
I
taking a shot at you.
Yeah, every other week I invite my mom down for dinner, and we have like a nice big family dinner, and we set up for plans of what we're going to be doing for the next 2 weeks normally, which is my weekend off, which is that Sunday. Every 2 Sundays is the only day I share with my mother when we both have off,
Right.
right? And that's something that we look forward to at the end of the week, right? It's something that we always gets us through our work week because we get something to look forward to. And I'm the type of person where if I don't have something to look forward to, it really, I lose the meaning of why I actually get up and go to work in the first place.
I think that's fair. I think that there's a lot of people, and I definitely, take that into account for my staff,
Hmm.
not so much myself, where a lot of employees are in that way. They need something. They're working. I always say you're working for your day off,
Hmm.
right? You're working for that day off. When you get on one of those stretches, it is easy to use okay, I just got to get to here. I
Hmm.
just got to get to that day. And when you don't see that day, meaning like you can't see it because it's either that far away
Hmm.
or whatever it is that you've got planned or focused in between there,
Hmm.
that you can't see that and you can't work towards that, it does become very mentally tiring
Hmm.
and can definitely have an effect on you. What I want to know is, after saying all that, then what kind of family guy do you think I am?
You're not a family guy, like, at all.
Okay.
Well, you can't be because like it's I
I want to see you
it's
walk
hard
away
for
around
me
this
to picture. Like it's really hard for me to picture. Like
one.
this show takes normally to sit down and record. We at least like to allot an hour and a half,
Of just
right?
recording. Yeah.
Right of just recording.
Yep.
And the amount of times where that hour and a half allotted time, normally, but not always, on your side gets canceled or pushed or moved around because of other things.
Mhm.
It's like, what if you allotted that hour and a half with your wife?
It
What if
gets
that was
pushed.
supposed to be date night? Is that just a different level of priority to you that you would take that time and say, no, I'm done. I need this hour and a half to make my wife happy.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It really does depend, right? It depends on a week to week basis. I cannot say that I have, I've definitely pushed off plans with my wife
Hmm.
because of work. I've pushed off plans with my wife because of the show.
Hmm.
I've pushed off. I think we both have. We've made sacrifices over our time
Yeah.
for work and for show. But no, I've definitely, like, if it was that same, like even tonight, rushing and everything else, absolutely, I've been in the same time, like the same thing where I've pushed plans with her because of it.
Yeah.
So yes, I am a family person, and I say that, and I am, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I seen my mother on Mother's Day.
Hmm.
I seen my father today. I seen him
Mhm.
today because he came by my shop because I had to get him to check something.
Mm.
So again, it was work related, and anytime
Yeah.
I see him, it normally is, whether it be work related on my side or his side. It's I come by it honestly, right? My father and I, and I hope he's not listening. I know he does listen sometimes. Have never had that typical father relationship. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
what a typical father son relationship is supposed to be. I don't have kids, so who am I to
Yeah.
judge? But it's very much been, if it's not his business, it's my business.
Yeah.
Like, it's very much, you know what I mean? If it's not talking about, work, we're damn near lost. Like, it's not like, hey, how was your day? How are you feeling lately? How are you,
Yeah.
like, that bullshit doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's more, oh yeah, no, we came out with this. He's telling me he's got a small engine shop and what's going on in there, and I'm telling him, the struggles of learning and management and everything else that I face, and he
Yeah.
gives me the advice and whatnot, and I give him advice. My advice to him is pretty much like, you've worked long enough, just shut up and enjoy it. Sit back, relax a little bit, stop working so hard.
Yeah. Well, I see it all the time. Like I know this one individual where he's I think it's a Monte Carlo that he has. He sent it off for paint 3 years ago, and he keeps trying to get it back. But at the end of the day, he doesn't really have time to enjoy it, so he's not pushing super hard to get it back because he just tows all day, every day.
Yeah.
Right? He went out and bought a motorcycle, so he was taking a little bit of time and mostly nights extra off to enjoy that new toy that he got.
But
But he works all the time still.
like, in my situation, okay, so I'm 34 years old.
Yeah.
I've been in the industry 10 years, 11 years, whatever the hell it is now.
Yeah.
At 34 years old, and we don't have any kids. I mean, God knows what the future holds for us in that department. But living in the moment right now, we don't have any kids.
Mm-hmm.
What else should you be doing? It's
Enjoying
not.
your younger years, maybe.
I'm working to be able to enjoy more of my older years.
Yeah, I
I,
guess.
I would rather be working. I'd rather my wife be working. I'd rather, like, once the kids come,
Yeah.
I understand a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But right in this moment, we are doing nothing but growing and building.
Yeah.
So right in this moment is where work is the focus, right? And I know, people say that, like, yes, you do have to take the time away, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a big proponent. I've always told people, take away time away from the industry. And I take my fair share. I take my vacation. I take my downtime. I've been trying to play golf once a week lately as just some me time and
Yeah.
some downtime and some actual true time away from work.
Yep.
Right? Because even as we were sitting here prepping for a show, my
You
phone
got what?
won't stop
6
ringing.
phone calls?
Yeah, like my phone won't stop ringing. So even for me to say, hey, my wife and I are going to sit down tonight and relax and watch a movie, something as simple as that will normally be interrupted by 2, 3, 4 phone calls on a good time, right? So, but at the same time, it's not like I'm trying to sit down and have that bonding time with my children.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to do any of these things right now other than focus on work. So to just blame it on work and just blame it on passion isn't accurate, because it's a time and point in my life. You're a perfect example. Yes, you need to spend time enjoying your time. I get that. You know what I mean? You're very close with your mother.
Yep.
I get that. Once every second Sunday having the dinner, great. That is a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you are 20 some years old.
Yeah.
You have no children. A lot of these things will change when children come into the game.
Yeah.
Now is the time to be busting your ass.
Well,
You're not
I
going to do
am
it at
busting my ass,
45.
but not in the towing industry, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my farm started and have that as like my long-term goal.
But you're busting your ass on a passion and a future.
Yeah.
It's no different than what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm busting. The only difference is my passion isn't fucking peacocks and chickens.
Yes, if you haven't been around for very long, I do have peacocks. We don't really bring those up in the later shows, but yes, I do have peacocks.
Where I'm focusing on my passion on the towing industry and,
Yeah.
and the company for which I work.
Mhm.
Right, that is where I'm focusing my time. 100%. Is it unhealthy? Probably.
Yeah.
Right, like it's so funny that I like I get mad at my dad, as I was just saying, about, you know, you're working too much, it's time to sit back, it's time to enjoy it a little bit, while at the same time I look at myself repeating the exact same mistakes he made. The difference is he had a kid at home. I don't.
But I also find, like, I've seen guys just like you, workaholics. They said that they're grinding, and then when they do get into their later years, that's all they know. So they don't slow down. They don't take that time for themselves, and they can almost work themselves into their own grave if they're not careful.
Yep. My wife asked me one time, and I still remember this, and it's a very tough question, and I still don't think to this day I can answer it. And I don't think until I can answer it will it actually maybe click for me. Is at what point is it going to be enough?
Mm.
Like, where is the top of the mountain for you? Right? Because everyone has different heights that they want to get to. Everyone has different goals. Everyone has different whatever. Where's the top? When will it be enough? Right? Back when you wanted to be a great operator. You became a great operator. Okay. You didn't want to just drive your whole life. You wanted to get into management. Okay. You got into that. You got on with a great company. Okay. Where is it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the end game?
Yeah.
And the truth is, I don't see it yet. I don't know what it is. There's still a long way to go. I am nowhere near where I'd like to be, whether it be in life, in the towing industry, mentally, emotionally, any of those places. All those departments, every one of those departments needs growth.
Well, I think that's also a big thing in the towing industry, is because there's not that much room to grow, right? If you start working for a company, great, you spend 3 to 5 years there, you learn how to be a real decent operator.
Mhm.
Okay, what path do you want to take? Do you want to jump into a managerial role, become a manager? Okay, well, you do that. Is your long-term goal to maybe you have them pass the company down to you? But that's not normally very likely if it's a family-owned company and you're not family. Or you work your 5 years, and then do you get out on your own and start your own business and then work through that pyramid?
Mhm.
Because that's pretty much it. Like, if you're a factory worker, let's use the McDonald's example again. You
Okay.
start in as a cashier,
Mhm.
you move to the kitchen, you become a manager,
Mhm.
maybe the night manager, then you become the day manager. You might get promoted into the regional manager position, and you can move up
Mhm.
further and further. You've got more peaks
Mhm.
on your climb to the top of the mountain. The towing industry has very few peaks,
I
and you
don't.
kind of have to make your own peaks, I find.
I don't necessarily agree. Well, like I said, yeah, the nice side is McDonald's, unless you're going out and buying a franchise, you have in towing the opportunity, like I said, to possibly it's going business for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Possibly it's to partner with another company. There's a lot
Mhm.
of options. So there is things that you can do, right? Okay, you start off as a light duty operator. That's
Mhm.
normally where most guys start.
Yeah.
Light duty operator, you got 3 to 5 years before you're kind of at your peak. Not peak, but you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And some guys are happy. But that's what I mean. To some people,
Yeah.
being that 5-year operator that
Yeah.
is relied upon, that can do, is pretty much a go-to guy and that can do it all. That's their peak. That's where they're happy. That question of when is it enough?
Yeah.
That is it for them.
Because they don't want the headaches and the stress that comes along with managing.
No, but then there's, okay, well, let's go into heavies. When I've got another 3 to 5 years at least in there before you're at a spot where you're, we're talking heavies, we're talking rotator operators. Like, I mean, you've got, this isn't an overnight gig.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, you're 10 years into the industry. You're going that route. You're 10 years in. You're a good heavy operator, maybe a good rotator operator. You've still got lots to learn. You're still improving. Right. Where do you go from there? Well, if you're that good, there's big companies out there that are looking for that kind of experience. And will help bring you up to the next level and continue your growth. So now you're 12 years, 13 years in, and you're at the top. Like, you're at the top if you want to go that route. Okay. It's not a bad spot to be. Then you have, there's the other route of, like I said, you do it for 5 years. You go, hey, I can do this. I go into an ownership. I start off with one truck. I spend the first 3 years growing, 5 years growing. Now I've got maybe 2-3 trucks. I keep investing. You're 20 years in, and you've got an established, hopefully, company, a well-established, awesome little operation.
Established to the point where it's pretty much hands off for the owner.
Yeah, I don't think it ever can be, but okay.
Yeah.
Not in the ownerships that I've worked through.
I mean, on the day-to-day stuff, like doing the
On the day-to-day,
bookkeeping
you
and
bring
everything,
people
like
to-
you want a good manager to, manage for you.
But then, okay, so then we go the other way, right? So we've gone through the ownership route, we've gone through the operator route, and then you're right. There's the management, which the management can also lead to an ownership, maybe not within that company, but even without, it's an opportunity to go out and learn the business side of things, because now you know what it takes to be an operator, you know what it takes to run the company.
Yep.
Now you have that option, or you continue to grow through the management, depending on the company and region that you're in. You know what I mean? You talked about regional managers. There's multi-divisions that start. There's different things that are on the table. So you end up, it's there is, I think, to pigeonhole the industry and to say that, well, there's no future in this, I think is a little insulting. It all depends on what you see as the end game and what's that top of the mountain that you're trying to get to. Right? Like, let me ask you, where in towing do you want to be? Where do you think is the top where when I get to this, I'm out?
Well, I think myself, if I was to stay in the towing industry, even part-time, once I get my actual goals set up and are attainable, I would probably want to get into some sort of instructing role.
Oh, Jesus, Lord, but Jesus.
Well, so I train the new
about.
guys. Yeah, I train the new guys that come into my company, right? I'm a pretty competent wrecker driver, so anyone who's going to come in and run a wrecker, I do that. And the reason behind it is I have patience. Right? When I know what I'm talking about, I'm very good with, like, my stepmother always says, she's a teacher. She can dumb stuff down, right? This is the complex stuff here. Let me extract the main points,
Right.
and bring it down here into like plain English for other people to understand that might not get the complexity of just the whole subject matter. And I think that's something that I could be okay with, right? I've thought about maybe going down the road of like being a roadside representative, maybe. I don't know. That's a different possibility. I know a lot of those people don't have as much towing experience as they really should to be a liaison in between towing and the actual roadside company.
Right.
So that's another avenue that I thought about. I haven't put much thought into it, but it's a different door that I could potentially try to open for myself. But that's pretty much it for myself. Like, yeah, I love towing, but I hate it, and that's the most true statement I think anyone can ever say.
I think most towers say
And
that.
that really brings me to the other thing I wanted to talk about today is why towing? Just why? Why do you do it? We talked about time management, and you talked about how much time you put into this. The amount of time and effort you put into a towing job or career is pretty much almost all week, right? Especially someone in your shoes, like a manager in the towing field. Your phone almost never stops ringing. You don't have that much time. If you took that, the amount of time and dedication you put into this company, and you started yourself a landscaping business or anything else, the amount of time and effort you put into something might just grow into something even bigger. Now, the grass could be greener on the other side of the fence, but why do you think the towing industry is for you and worth so much of your time?
It's a question I don't think we'll ever really know the answer to. I
No.
think it comes down a lot to you need to enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
Right? I was the first guy to admit, before I got into the towing industry, I bounced around job to job to job to job in a year. It was a year here, a year there, a year here. And it took me about a year to figure out if I like something, if I didn't like it, I'm out.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I'm not going to do something I love or I don't love,
Yeah.
especially when I hate it. It's one thing not to love it. It's another thing to hate it.
Yeah.
Right? So, no, why the towing industry? We get to do some pretty wicked shit.
Yeah.
Like you and I were just looking at some photos.
Yeah.
We get to do some pretty wicked shit.
Yeah.
Right? It short of being like my wife had asked me that. Like, did you ever any other dreams, whatever? I think I would have liked being a cop. I actually think I would have enjoyed being a police officer.
I could see your personality filling the roles of one of those boots. Yeah.
Very possible. Yeah, very possible. And, but I didn't have the formal education, right? We had talked about that on how far the education side went. And I never, let my education hold me back at any point. But at the same time, it was what it was. And I remember when I came across towing, it was just, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain my love and passion for this industry because it is definitely a love-hate, right? Like you said, it's I love it and I hate it. Right. I tell my wife all the times on days that when I'm having a bad day, and I've had bad days.
Yeah.
That even on one of the worst days, like a day where I'm in a mood, nothing has gone right. The hours are dragging, whatever it is that's going on, that's absolutely got me off kiltered that day. I still enjoy it. Right. I enjoy it because I've gotten into a position. I enjoy it more in a position of management than I ever did as an operator. Right. As an operator, I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I still enjoyed it getting to do it. The things that once I got into the position of management, the things that I'm still learning, the opportunities that I'm being given, the things that I'm being taught and teaching myself.
You've reopened the whole towing industry to yourself,
Absolutely.
jumping into this role.
When you think that you are on the top of a mountain as an operator, and then you get put back into a position where
the clouds part and you realize you're not even halfway there yet.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. It was exactly that where it felt for a while when I left the company that we worked together at.
Yeah.
Right. When I left there, burnout was a major factor. And I did feel at the time, and I think it's something that even you may be going through at times, where it's like I'm there. Like, what else is there? Right. I can tell by just the tone, just the way you bring into this conversation, you're sitting there going, there's nothing else there. Yeah. And let me tell you, there is, but you've got to figure out what path it's down. Yeah. Right. I never would have thought of the roadside thing. Like I said, we've seen them where they're, even if it's an instructor for the roadsides, even if it's like, there's so many different paths that you're experiencing towing. And especially as the industry continues to evolve and we start to lose more experienced veterans and in the towing industry, and there's not the sharpest of tools in the shed coming in. Right. I actually sat down the other day and had a conversation with a good old friend of ours. Yesterday, I had a conversation with Davey. And I told Dave right on the spot, I said, I couldn't pay for your experience. I would hire you in a heartbeat to teach these new guys that I got. You can't buy that kind of experience. You can't buy what this guy could do for a team like that. Right. And so even a guy like him, who's been at it since Christ was a choir boy, right? When full winch was elbow deep in the horse, even for him, as long as he's been doing it in the towing industry, there's still another tier if he wants to do it.
Yep.
There's still another tier, but it's easy in the towing industry to lose your passion. When you stop moving forward and you get stuck in a spot and you kind of feel like you've hit that plateau. I'm not moving up anymore because I feel like I'm at the top of the mountain.
Yep.
I feel like I've accomplished everything in the industry that I can accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
My advice is to go look up some of these big companies and go look at the people that are running them. Right? There's all kinds in the States and Canada. Go look at the people that run them. And I don't just mean I know a huge tow company where I don't know if the owner ever towed. I'm not sure he ever drove a tow truck.
Yeah. He's a businessman and saw it as
hell of a businessman, amazing businessman, but I don't think he's ever driven a tow truck. I don't think that guy will tell you that his passion is the towing industry. I don't believe that one bit. Again, I don't know well enough. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong. But you will find it is not hard to find second and third generation families, right? I know plenty down in the States. I know a bunch in Canada, right? Like you see it. And if you meet those people and see what they achieved, and you all of a sudden realize that this isn't some unachievable or unattainable goal. It just takes discipline, like everything else. It takes discipline. It takes patience, perseverance, all those things that I like to tell myself that I'm doing and doing poorly, I might add. But
so I like how you brought up speaking to Davey and how you would hire him in a heartbeat just for training. Is that something that some people could maybe start a business with?
Pretty sure they have them. It's called a Wreckmaster.
No, but I mean like
an independent consulting.
And actually one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up is because I saw an ad for their 5-6 course or 6-7 course in Sarnia, and I read the blurb about Jeff Martin, the host of that, and it said that he did Wreckmaster I think in 98 and became a part-time instructor in like 2001 or 2002. Like it wasn't a very long gap in between. But do you think there's a need or a want for a company with experienced drivers that know pretty much everything, and not to offer a weekend training course, but to come in and actually work with your company? Kind of like, how the those TV shows for the restaurants used to be, where a head chef,
Bar
like
Rescue.
those. Would something like that, like something like Bar Rescue, work for the towing industry, where you have a couple of guys to come in and like have a day to learn your equipment and learn some of the bugs, and then start training these guys on the equipment that they'd be running?
I don't think so. I think that's a lot of management's job, right? Depending on how the responsibilities and what they have going on. What I meant by why I would pay Davey any day to come train my guys, it would be a guy like him to be on the payroll and to be doing calls, but that guy would always teach you something. That guy would take every time he had some downtime and you had a question to do it. Something that sometimes I don't have. Something I wish I had more of, and to have a guy like him who's so goddamn humble and so goddamn, just easy going and easy to listen to. And, when Dave speaks, you listen. And it's not because he's trying to stroke his ego in any, way, shape, or form. It's literally because he'd like to try and help you. Right? Like he's most humble. I owe so much of my career to that man. But that is what I mean by pay him. I would not pay him just to come in as a weekend trainer. Now, I don't think the towing industry does. Okay, there's two questions to that. You said, does it need it? Does the industry need it? And does the industry want it? I think those are two very different questions that have two very different answers. Does the industry need it? Probably. Probably. The industry would not benefit or would not be harmed by doing that. It needs it. It would very well benefit from it. Does the industry want it? The industry probably wants it. The companies don't. Right? Like, as much as you want to train your guys, right? I've seen this wise quote back when, and it says, what if I spent all this money training my employees and they leave? Right? Well, what if you don't and they stay? Right? What if you don't and they stay? Are you really that much
I
better
mean,
off?
like you could break out the contract book and say with all this training, there's
Fuck
a
the
minimum
contract books.
guarantee.
These
Yeah,
fucking contracts that these towing companies try to fuck off.
yeah,
Okay,
I agree.
this is your staff. These are the people that are going to represent your company on the front line.
Mhm.
Like I said, what if we pay all this money to train them and they leave? What if you don't and they stay? Right? Like, fuck the contracts. You want to put some growth? There is cost. There is a cost of doing business.
Mhm.
Right? It's shit that happens. If you want to push and you want to change and you want to take it to the next level, you've got to have some risk.
Mhm.
Right? No company has gotten to be a top company in their region by not taking risk. I'm not saying just throw caution to the wind and you know what I mean, like take every opportunity and every risk you can. But what I'm saying is there, no business evolves and grows without taking some risk, and with that risk is going to come some mistakes.
Yep.
And
Well,
come with
even a good example of that is look at Highway Through Hell, how Jamie Davis expanded so quickly and so rapidly because the work was there. He expanded to multiple different locations in multiple provinces, and some of the work dried up and he had to scale back, right? That happens. That's the real world.
Yeah, well, you grow and you never actually get a foothold in the
Yeah.
area.
You
But
just
there's
grow so
source, it
much,
doesn't matter.
right? Yeah.
But then when the work dries up, if you don't have a brand in that town or you don't have ties to that town, you get kind of cornered out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure Jamie. I'm sure anyone, Jamie Davis, Al Queer. I'm sure all these guys will tell you that they've made their fair share of mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
Nobody is without fault in this industry. There is
Mm-hmm.
nobody that I have met, any business owners. You can talk to some of, we always talk about loving Gary and Colin.
Mm-hmm.
Next time we talk to them, and I'll talk to them soon enough. Listen, what's a mistake that you made? I bet you they could rhyme off a list of them.
Oh, probably. They've shown some of them on the TV show too.
It's not about the mistakes that you're going to make.
Yeah.
Right? As operators, that's the other thing that you learn. Mistakes happen.
It's how you learn from them.
It's how you learn from them. It's how you do those kind of things. And this kind of all comes full circle on exactly why, when you ask me, what is it about towing?
Mm-hmm.
It's because there's freedom.
Yeah.
There's ability to make mistakes. There's abilities to learn. I have met some cool people. I have met some amazing people, whether it be other operators, whether it be customers. I have, laugh at me this, might get shunned down in some of the southern states. I had a customer drop me off the other day because we got talking. When we're on road trips, like I said, I mentioned before, I do religion, right? I love talking religion. I love talking politics, and not because I'm sitting there going, I'm a red-blooded Canadian that I want my guns and maple syrup, and you can't take them away from me. I'm not.
But,
right? I believe in separate bathrooms and I believe in freedom for everybody. But I had a customer, because I've had so many good chats with different people. I had a customer dropped off a Quran, an English version of the Quran. He's like, we can't push. We're not ones to push our religion. Like, it's got to be. But I'm like, I'll read the damn thing. Right. And it's just because of people that I've met and conversations that I've had and tricks that I've learned over the years. And the fact that you can never stop growing, the fact that there's always something that I'm never going to be the best at. I have this drive and this desire to be good. It's somewhat humble.
Having an open mind definitely helps you.
Yeah. I want to say it's somewhat humble. Like I sit there and I go, I want to be the best at something. I don't think I've ever been the best at anything. Right. But at the same time, it's that drive and that passion is what keeps me interested. Right. Why chickens? Why farming? Why peacocks? To you. Yeah. Why that?
Well, it's a different way of life that I think that I will enjoy more in my later years and even my years now.
Yeah. It's because it's just a passion. It's something that brings you excitement, gives you that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And you're willing to make sacrifices and struggles and learn a lot. That's life.
Yep.
That's what we're put on this stupid spinning rock for.
Hmm.
Like that's what it is. I see so many people that just bitch and bitch. I hate their job. I hate the people they work with. Oh my god. And everything's a drag. And oh, I not live myself, I think, because that's how YouTube says it. Like I couldn't imagine doing something where at the end of the day that all I care about is the paycheck.
No.
If you don't actually enjoy it. You know how much time you spend working? Right? Let's say we do, a third of your day during the week, 8 hour, right? Even if you do an 8 hour day, which I know I've had a couple. It's a 30 your regular day during the week, and then you get your weekends off. Like that's a long bit of your life when you talk about working from 16 to 65, let's say.
Yeah.
Right? 50 years, 49 years. 49 years, and if a third of that, even if let's say it's a quarter when you take all a quarter of that time in 50 years, and you're not going to like what you do?
Yeah.
The hell are you doing?
I read somewhere that this owner had a really good employee, and he blew everything out of the water. And he walked up to this employee the one day and he says, "What are you passionate about? Are you passionate about this job because you go out of your way to train all these people and you just do a bang up job every time?" And he says, "I'm not passionate about this job. I do this job and I do it well for the things that I'm passionate about."
Mm-hmm.
Right? Which is a different way to look at the coin.
Absolutely. I am passionate about all the stuff, and this job is a means to the end.
Yep.
Right? I'm passionate about the job. All the stuff that I get because of it is just bonus.
Yep.
That's the way that
I'm a firm believer of, like what you were saying before, is you're working to your day off. You're working towards your day off.
Yeah.
To me, that's fast forwarding through life.
Yeah.
I don't want to fast forward through life. I do not want to press that fast forward button. I want my life to be like a winding river, and I can just meander at my own pace. I don't want any rapids. I don't want any dams. I just want a nice meandering river to where I can, react gently to the pushes and throws of this nice river, right? And I feel like modern day life is just rapids all the time, right to the end. Everyone's just fast forwarding through life. Road rage is a thing. Everyone's just trying to get home and get to work, and everyone's just in such a fucking rush all the time. Myself, I just want to slow down and take it all in because life's too short to be fast forwarding to your next day off.
That is a really good point. It is true, right? Because again, you just kind of blank out the week to get the weekend, let's say, right? If we want to look at
And that's one thing I think that's really kept me in the towing industry, is because of the cool shit and because of the bragging rights. And it kind of gives you an excuse to say, well, 80% of it is shit that doesn't really pique my fancy, but the other 20%, oh yeah, I love that 20%.
Oh yeah, like I've met people. This one guy I met, the wife's friend or whatever.
No.
I don't have to worry about him listening. Really cool dude, actually, amazing guy. Whatever. We were chatting over dinner. We had some birthday dinner for one of our friends. I don't even know who it was.
You had time for a birthday dinner? Wow.
Yeah, this was a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago. I don't remember what it was. But no, so we were chatting over dinner and stuff, and he's like an electrical engineer, works on like chips and different things, whatever it is, right? And I'm like, I love everything. Like I've always got such an open mind to this stuff. And I'm like, oh man, that's awesome. And he had to go to school for all these years and he's working for this company and this is the stuff. And I'm like, I really enjoy learning about other people's lives.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people would sit there and have that conversation with this person and go, especially in tow operators, right? Because tow operators have been shunned and everything else. And you know what I mean? Dirty highway janitors, whatever you want to call us, we've been called. And this guy the whole time, like, you could tell he didn't like talking about what he did, but he kept asking, like, no, like, tell me about towing. Like, that seems awesome and that seemed fun. And like, you guys are on the road and you're doing this and, you get cars in the ditch and you ever, deal with dead bodies and you ever like all these questions. Yeah. And you realize, and it's like, yeah, because I'm not locked in a factory every day. As much as it's cool what you do and I hope it's your passion, I would unlive myself.
Yeah, unalive.
Unalive, whatever. I don't care. YouTube sent me, banned me. I don't care. Suck the algorithm. But no, right? Like it's that kind of thing where you realize, like, no, if you're passionate, you enjoy what you do.
Mhm.
It's cool. Everything is cool.
Mhm.
Like there is not a job, right? Like I look at that, and this is where my brain is broken when it comes to work. It's broken. We were sitting, so as I told you before the show, I was at a Jimmy Carr show.
Mm.
And I'm sitting there trying to figure out how the business works. Just out of pure curiosity. Like, I wonder how much he gets paid for doing a show like this.
Mm.
I wonder how that breaks out. Like, how does he take in all the money and then he pays the people that set up? Like, how does the business? I love the idea of how does the business work.
Yep.
Every business, right? It can be anything. I will look at it and go, oh, how does that work? How does that? And I think that is where I've, hopefully where I've had some success in the towing industry is because that curiosity on not just, oh, I'm not one that just puts something on and goes, oh, that just happens. It's like, no, why? Why does it happen?
When you were a kid, was your babysitter How It's Made on Discovery?
100%. Or what was the? You might be too young. It was Alicia Cuthbert and Popular Mechanics for Kids. Popular Mechanics for Kids, and they really explain the process and things. Like, it's how.
Yeah.
Right? I even some of these guys that do these bigger podcasts, I listen to how. I get it because they had a massive audience before they decided to get into this, so a lot of it carries over.
Yeah.
How does something work? And if you take that approach into the towing industry, how do these rotators do these big lifts?
Yeah.
How do you safely do this? How does a company become successful? What are margins that you should be looking at? What are ways to deal with employees when it comes to this? Wow, it never ends. It never
A lot of
ends. So it's
people,
constantly intriguing.
there's a saying, when you're young, everyone is like, when you're a baby, everyone can't wait for you to say your first words and take your first steps. But any point after those two moments, it's just sit down and shut up. And that kills the why. When kids ask thousands of questions, and it just frustrates the hell out of some people. And if those kids keep getting shut down, well, then they're just going to stop asking. And you never stopped asking those questions.
I still, anyone tells you I'm a talker, I've got so much curiosity to so many different things. That's why. How many times I like the chickens? We talk about the farm. Oh, okay. Well, as soon as you start telling me this mobile fucking chicken thing, okay. So then, how much room do you need? Because like I'm trying to figure out how you plot it out and how long it moves. Like all this shit. I'm not going to retain 50% of it at least.
Yeah.
But the natural.
I'm surprised you remembered the name Chicken Tractor.
I don't know. I think I called it a chicken farming thing. I don't know what the hell it's called. Chicken tractor. Okay. Right. I remember you telling me how you move it, whatever. And I'm like, that's the way my brain's broken.
Yeah.
I have no problem admitting my brain's broken. I
don't think that's broken.
It's broken.
It's not. I think that's the way it's supposed to work. I think society has made it seem broken.
Maybe in society's eyes it's broken. But I'm tired. I don't care if it is. Regardless, if it's broken or it's fixed, I don't care what it is. It's great.
Yeah.
Right. It's a natural, and it keeps things. That's how I don't get bored.
Yeah.
That's how you don't get bored in a place like towing. That's why towing, because there's a lot of questions I can ask. There's a lot of questions that you can ask, and you'll never have the answer to all of them, and you'll keep working on more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah, that's something that we've brought up before, is always ask questions, always keep learning.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. That is the biggest bullshit line I've ever had. There's definitely stupid questions.
Oh yeah.
There is definitely stupid questions. So why towing? Because it's fun. Because I get to ask questions. Because I'm good at it. Why not towing? Why not farming?
No.
I don't even have time to get into the things that I want to get in. They're not as cool as your why towing and your time management. That really
I think the final note for this podcast,
okay.
If you've listened to the last couple of episodes, you can kind of see the trend, right? And over this show, I think you've seen our ups and downs, and I think this has been my down, right? The last month, I want to say it's been a down, and the topics that I keep trying to bring up is why towing, time management, like different things that are impacting me and
Like you're
on
trying
my
to convince
towing.
yourself.
Exactly. And I want this show to be words that if you're going through the same thing, at least this is something that you can fall back on. It's like other people go through it too, right? I love the towing industry, but I'm in a spot right now where I don't love it anymore. And it's a make and break time for myself. It's I want to make it work or I'm out. I'm done, right? I want to make it work. And that's why I keep bringing these things up on the show to try to talk myself back into it or bring up the passion that I used to have for
I'm just here to ask why.
it.
So if TowManG doesn't survive in the towing industry, and
Please send your resumes
and you like
to
to send
be
your
my
resume to be a
replacement.
new co-host. You
Good
can
luck.
send us
Good luck scheduling. That's all I gotta say.
and you like a boss who's all over the place. You can visit thetowinglife.ca or email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com.
Hell,
Or
even just a bleep loop in the comments below will probably do fine.
yeah, just say, hey, this is me. Send your audio recordings of why you would make a great host or co-host of the Towing Life podcast. That'll be our next contest. Once we get time to finish the first one we have going on, our next contest is going to be submit videos on why you deserve to be a guest or a co-host on an episode of the Towing Life podcast, and see what kind of fun we can have. And then I can ask a lot of whys, a lot of whys. I'm still upset. I want to go back to the beginning where we talked about your wife is, said thankfully you're not like me.
Yeah.
I liked her. I don't so much.
That's fine. That is perfectly fine.
I'm pretty sure we're all getting together
She
soon.
asked how does he spend any time with his wife? And I was like, he doesn't. Really? Like in the grand scheme of things, she might get 5% of his time.
She came into my office. She was in my office today. And I looked over at her. And I was like, are you having a quiet day? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I can tell. She's like, why? I'm like, because you're spending way too much time in my office.
Oh, that's bad, man.
I treat nobody different. Whether you're my wife, I don't treat anybody different. And that was literally, I can tell.
Your wife is a match made in heaven for you, because I don't think I know any other woman who would put up with your shit like that.
No, there's very few out there. So next time you ask yourself why, you should ask my wife. That being said, thanks for joining us for another week of Let's Convince TowManG to Stay in the Towing Industry, also known as the Towing Life Podcast. We appreciate you guys coming out and listening week in, week out. You know where to find us. You know where we'll be. We'll be back next week with the recovery of the month. So on behalf of myself, Mr. TowManG, take care.
Toodles.